Welcome into the Farzy show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. The show is written by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Don't forget, hey, Sunday's Mother's Day, so hit up Steven Singer. I don't believe what I saw last night. I still can't believe it. I am giddy about it, and I am beside myself with joy over the way the 76ers played last night, and I think you all are too. And I'm gonna go ahead and bastardize a line from the great Allen Iverson when he won the MVP award, and he said, "I get to come to the arena and listen to my favorite song, All Your Voices." Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that nice? Isn't that a beautiful thing to say about the fans of Philadelphia, the fans of the 76ers? His favorite song is Your Voices cheering. Isn't that great? Let me tell you what my favorite song is. My favorite song is the sound of Boston fans booing their own team. And we got to hear that song. Ooh, we got to hear that beautiful piece of music with about 40 seconds to go in the third quarter of last night's game. And then it's smattering throughout the game as the Sixers dominated the Boston Celtics last night. And you know what? Some people, I was like, did they really dominate this game? Okay, I was like, I don't want to go too top shelf. I don't want to be too dramatic. I don't want to be over the top with how the Sixers played last night. But I was saying, I was like, well, did they dominate? Did they win by 30? Did they win by 20? No. But they controlled the game from about the 8-minute mark of the first quarter on. They controlled the game. There was one point, I think it was a Jason Tatum layup that brought the Celtics to within 6, but the Sixers just got right back in control. If they swerved a little bit, they still stayed in the lane and very much in control of the car, and they got to the finish line. It was spectacular. What more can you ask from the Sixers than to get a MVP performance again from your MVP in Joel Embiid and have somebody step up as a second scorer, but also right there with 30 points, Tyrese Maxey. You get a good performance, solid performance from Tobias Harris, and James Harden plays point guard. Doc Rivers put it after the game. You know what James Harden did? He pitched a perfect game. And I thought that was a great way to put it. And James Harden even described it in his own right, saying that the way they were defending him, as the Boston Celtics were defending him, that created a lot of spacing on the floor. And James Harden, who's a really good point guard, understands spacing very well, and he found the open man. And that open man, time and time again, last night was Tyrese Maxey. You get the chase down block from Joel Embiid that made me just jump out of my seat because it was that incredible. But throughout this game, what more could you ask from the Sixers than just being in control and consistently, constantly being up 10, 15 points, as it were, throughout this game? It seemed like every point you got a little worried where there was a big shot from the Celtics. There was a big play from the Celtics. There was a turnover converted into points by the Celtics. It was like the crowd would lose their mind, and I'd go to check the score again, and I go, well, hold on a minute. Sixers are still up 10. Oh, hold on a minute. Sixers are still up 13. Oh, hold on a minute. Sixers are up 15. Why is Boston losing their mind the way they are? And I'm like, yay, Boston fans. Boston fans getting so excited. We're down 10. Yay. We're down 15. Yay. We're only down 13. Yay. And I'm like, they don't even know what's hitting them right now. And yes, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, as I'm sure a lot of you were thinking, there's going to be a run. There's going to be a run by the Celtics. There's going to be a run. And there was no run. Even when there was a 10-0 run in the third quarter, Sixers responded by getting a Tobias Harris little bunny jumper there in the paint, and that swung momentum right back to the Sixers' favor. And whenever there was a big play by the Celtics, you saw the Sixers go right down the other end and just squash any momentum, whether it was a Maxey three, whether it was a Joel Embiid post-up where he would get the N1 or he would get the putback and get the N1 in that situation. He did that in the early goings of the game a couple times. You saw throughout this game, the Sixers just had daggers to the momentum of the Boston Celtics. And you see Jaylen Brown with about 5 minutes left to go in that fourth quarter. Joel Embiid has a turnover down the other end. Sixers still very much in control. Joel Embiid has a turnover. The ball goes in the hands of Jaylen Brown. Joel Embiid chases him down. Joel Embiid with the old creaky knee chases Jaylen Brown down and swats that ball into the stands for the chase down block. I jumped out of my chair with excitement when I saw that. I couldn't believe what I had just seen. And I would say if this is only 85%, 90% of Joel Embiid, I'd say we're sitting pretty with how Joel Embiid is going to be playing in the hopefully decisive Game 6 Thursday night in South Philadelphia, tomorrow night in South Philadelphia. I have said a couple of different times now that the Sixers could need to play great in order to win. The Celtics could play good. The Sixers could play well and win. Celtics did not play well at all last night, and I thought the Sixers played very good last night. And overall, you want them to just be a control team. You want them to be, of course, a dominant team. But last night, I just felt like they controlled from start to finish. I did not feel like, okay, I was waiting for the run from the Celtics, but every time they did something, every time Tatum would hit a three or Marcus Smart would do something to draw a foul, like that shoulder from Tucker in the game, I thought there was going to be a situation where, oh, well, here it comes. But before I could even think, hear it, boom, Sixers made a play. And that's the way you need them to play. Last night felt like the game we had been waiting for a very long time. Now, ultimately, Thursday night will hopefully be that game that we've been waiting for a long time, where the Sixers actually win a decisive game, a clinching game in the second round of the playoffs, and they move on to the it's been so long. What's the next round? Eastern Conference Finals. That's ultimately what we've been waiting for. But last night felt like the game we've been waiting for, in a sense that we just wanted the Sixers to play to their full potential. And that doesn't always mean James Harden getting 40 points in a game while Joel Embiid gets 30 or whatever. That means that Joel Embiid gets his 30 to 35 points, which is what he averaged throughout the season, in that range. And then you get somebody else to step up and be that other scorer. Now, I thought that James Harden was just taking that role over simply because Tyrese Maxey had struggled in this series offensively and shooting, most notably. But you need somebody else to be that scorer. It can't just be Joel Embiid. As much as I want to see a Joel Embiid 50-point performance again, I just don't know how likely that is. But I think it's very likely that he scores the 30 to 35 points and then somebody else steps up with 30 points in the game. Last night, it was Maxey. With how they were playing against James Harden, it was absolutely Tyrese Maxey. What he brought to the court last night was that of a skilled, seasoned playoff veteran. And he's no rookie anymore. He's got playoff games under his belt. We saw him against the Hawks, of course. We saw him last year against the Heat and the Raptors. And now this year, he has had some struggles in the postseason. Had some struggles in this series. But watching him go out there last night and hit 6 threes, and I believe it was after his 5th three that he gave the old shh for the people on the podcast. Shh. Gave the old shush to the crowd. It was a beautiful thing. And it was a young man feeling himself and knowing that he was having himself a night. And seeing Maxey go out there, ended up being 6 of 12 from beyond the arc. He shot 10 of 21 from the floor for 30 points. Also got you 7 rebounds, Tyrese Maxey. Did not see that one coming. And Harden did not have a 40-point game. Harden did not have a 30-point game. Harden did not have a 20-point game. Harden had a 17-point, 10 assists ball game. And he only had 2 turnovers. This was a masterclass in point guard. This was a masterclass in knowing what the defense is doing and reacting to it. Now, Harden still at moments he got his. Coming out of that second quarter, I thought he started out just beautifully. Harden comes out there in that second quarter. He gets a 3. He gets the little jumper from the foul line, has a great drop pass to Paul Reed. Really throughout this game, you saw James Harden just play point guard. That's it. He just played point guard. He was a maestro throughout this game. And if he's playing smart with the ball, if he's not being overly aggressive, I think last night is the instance where in other games you see James Harden say, no, to hell with it. I don't care what they're doing. I'm still going to score. I'm still going to drive. And then next thing you know, he's got 6, 7 turnovers. And that's not what you needed last night. He played very much within himself. He realized what was going on around him. He realized what was in front of him. And he decided to find the open man. And again, more often than not, that open man was Tyrese Maxey last night. But last night, again, to go back to this, felt like the game that we had been waiting for a long time, where it was like everybody was playing to their true potential. It doesn't mean that we always get James Harden scored 40 points, but it means we have a good point guard. We have a solid point guard. We have a great point guard performance, and that's what we got from James Harden last night. It means somebody else steps up with Joel Embiid, and that was Tyrese Maxey. It means that Joel Embiid plays the MVP version of himself, and all the talk of injury can go out the door. And oh man, after game 2, when everyone was talking about rust and he needed to have that type of game, we're waiting to see Joel Embiid and how strong is he to get as this series goes on, where he's continued to continue to get healthy. He's continued to play well as this series has gone on. He's gotten better and better and better each step of the way. They were even asking the Sixers about it last night in terms of watching the progression of Joel Embiid coming back from the injury. What injury? Like at this point, we want to see a game where Joel Embiid doesn't seem like he's hampered by injury in the playoffs. We saw it last night. We want to see a game where Tobias Harris is, again, there, Johnny on the spot. When it comes to open threes, knocking them down. When it comes to putbacks, it comes to rebounds. That's what you saw from Tobias Harris last night. 16 points, 11 rebounds for Tobias Harris. And the putback, the second chance points are invaluable when it comes to what Tobias Harris can bring to the table for you on that consistent basis when it comes to scoring. We're not going to see him get the slash points that we have seen him do in years past. We're not going to see him cut to the rim like he has in his career. We're going to see the steady three-point shot. We're going to see putbacks, and we're going to see an opportunist as well. It's going to be really what his teammates do is dictate when he can and can't score. And last night he was there every single time the Sixers needed him. And as this series went on, as this playoff has gone on, you have seen Tobias Harris consistently be that type of player. And I think that is his role. Is it max contract money? No. I know a lot of people are saying that right now, but that's not what I'm worried about. I'm looking at him to play his role very well. I'm looking at him to play his role perfectly. And I feel like in this series, more often than not, he has played that role beautifully, really throughout the playoffs, including 2 games without Joel Embiid. We were talking about it yesterday with Paul Hudrick, and I saw it picked up some steam there on the old social media, but Paul had a great point. PJ Tucker is the guy you acquire to beat the Celtics in the playoffs. He's not the guy you acquire to beat Charlotte in January. I thought that was a beautiful way to put it. And I thought last night, again, he was that emotional leader. People that only go by the book of analytics hate PJ Tucker. Because you look at what he does and he doesn't do anything. Analytically, all right? Statistically speaking, he does not look like anybody that is worth 30 minutes in a playoff game. But what he is somebody that you can't measure. And it's might be cliche, but there's no analysis for heart. And there's no analysis for leadership. But the impact PJ Tucker has had on this team, I know I brought it up yesterday when I talked about Moses Malone and I talked about Pete Rose, and sometimes you need guys from the outside to come in and say, hey, guys, just so you know, this is what it's like to win elsewhere. Just so you know, this is what the rest of the league thinks about you. You're in their head. You live rent-free in a lot of occasions in other people's heads in this league. Use that to your advantage. And in this particular instance, especially the way it worked at Game 4, getting in the ear of Joel Embiid, somebody like PJ Tucker gets in your ear and says, we need more from you, or we need you to dig down and find more fuel in the tank to keep on running on high. I think that gets you going. And I have no doubt that is still motivating Joel Embiid because, sometimes you just don't know how good you are until somebody pushes you. And I think everyone realizes how good Joel Embiid is. But I think Joel Embiid in his career, regardless of conditioning, this isn't a topic of him not conditioning enough. This is an argument of him just pushing himself to the absolute max in the playoffs. And I think PJ Tucker said, hey, guess what? You feel like you hit that wall? There's a little bit more. You feel like you've given it all? You got your hands on your knees already? You're bending over already? You're sucking wind already? Guess what? There's a little bit more. There's a little bit more. Push through that, and on the other side of that, you know where it is? It's greatness, baby. Sometimes you need that high school Harry stuff, man. Sometimes you need that kind of motivational speech. Sometimes you need that kick in the ass. And PJ Tucker is the guy that absolutely provides that for this team. Now, the other thing that I got to get into here, which is incredible in this game, when you talk about a game that you absolutely love to see, the game that we were waiting to see for a long time here. I think going into the last couple of minutes of the third quarter, the bench had 4 points. The bench had 4 points. And then the next thing you know, Daniel House finishes the game with 10 points off the bench. He had that nice little alley-oop layup from James Harden. And he just played really great throughout the game. And I was joking with my buddies on the text message. It was like, now that Paul Reed's greatness is known throughout the nation, I believe my buddy put it, yeah, Paul Reed's mainstream now. Because everyone knows of Paul Reed's greatness now. It's like, who's the next guy to get excited about coming off the Sixers bench? Daniel House, baby. We already know DeAnthony Melton gets a lot of accolades for being a very solid six man, right? Or be able to knock down some threes for you, right? Still wondering how he got some foul calls on him last night, but whatever. That's a story for another day. But who's the next guy off the bench? It's Daniel House, and you say his name with respect. You say his name with that steak. It's not Daniel House. It's Daniel House. And he was awesome last night for the 76ers. You need somebody with an unlikely hero, you get an unlikely hero. Daniel House goes in the ballgame, gets you 10 points. Other Sixers scorers off the bench. DeAnthony Melton had 4, and Paul Reed had 2. Paul Reed only played 7 minutes last night's ballgame. But everybody else, man, it was pretty incredible. In total, the Sixers win 115-103, by the way, but nobody cares about the score. They only care about the fact the Sixers won. They won in a very controlled performance against Boston. And I am thrilled with it. I have not been optimistic about the Sixers team. Let me acknowledge this. I have not been optimistic. I have felt it's the Celtics series. I look at last year, the Celtics went up against the Bucks. Celtics lost game 5 against the Bucks, and then they won the last 2 games of the series to advance. So here we are. Celtics lose game 5. There's 2 more games left. 1 in Philly, potentially 1 back in Boston. I honestly think the Sixers close it out tomorrow night. I've been asking this entire time, again with the broken record, I apologize, but I'm asking this entire time to give me confidence that this team can make it out of the second round of the playoffs. Give me that confidence, please. I beg of thee, 76ers, please. Please make it past the second round. Give me that confidence. I don't even know if I'll be 100% confident. I don't even know if I'll be 90% confident they're going to win this series until they've won it. And I look back and I stare at the final score. I look at the box score. I add up everyone's point totals individually. And I go, oh, my God, they actually did win. Oh, my God. And that's when it'll settle in. Maybe it won't even open up. Maybe I won't even realize it until they open up the Eastern Conference Finals against the Heat. Knock on wood. Maybe I won't even realize it then. But I talked about after game 4, I'm still not confident they win the series, but I'm the most confident I've been. Well, now they're up 3-2. And the Sixers, I think, have cracked the code on how they're going to beat the Celtics. And that is, the Sixers are going to have runs in this series. Sixers are going to have runs coming up in game 6 tomorrow night. The key for them is to be able to squash the momentum that the Boston Celtics are going to establish. Whenever they do have a run, whenever Jason Tatum hits a big shot, and for Tatum last night, what did he finish up with? But this is his best game of the series, 36 points for him last night. And didn't even feel like, especially in the early goings of the game, that he was really anything special, but he was the only one that was really consistently scoring for Boston. So last night you're watching this game, and you're seeing the way it plays out, and every time they went on that run, the Sixers had an answer. Well, that's going to happen again in game 6. So the big thing for the Sixers is start out better than they started out in this game 1. It was like the only time the Sixers didn't have control of the game. But establish their own momentum early. And then when the Celtics start to go on their runs or they have that big shot, you got to be able to squash that momentum. And Joel Embiid talked about it after the game, about how anytime Boston had that big play or they gained momentum or they had that 10-0 run, that's where the Sixers were able to reestablish their own momentum, do something to slow down the pace. And it wasn't just timeouts. Like Doc Rivers talked about it after the game, about how in the early goings of the game, he was going to call timeout. He saw the run the Celtics were starting out on, saw their momentum. Sixers got a couple of big plays, and he thought, oh, I think they're good. I think they got this. And the Sixers handled the business without having to get the coach to bail him out with a timeout to at least settle things down. But no, the Sixers made their own momentum squashing plays in this game where they didn't have to rely on timeouts to squash any momentum. So I think in game 6, and we'll get into this more tomorrow, obviously the day of Game 6, but my early feelings on it are that the Sixers are not going to be denied. Joel Embiid is not going to be denied a chance to close this series out at home. I'll go back to the Bucks series last year with the Celtics. They lost Game 5. They won the next 2 games of the series to win the series in advance, and later, of course, go to the finals. Sixers and Celtics. Sixers are 1-8 in games where they have had the chance to eliminate the Celtics. That's not good. So hopefully history is not on the side of the Celtics, and a new history will start to be written come Thursday night. But for me, I think a lot of times in the NBA, more often than not, it comes down to the best player on the court. And the best player on the court is Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid now, Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, now Game 5. Each game, he has gotten better and better. Each game he has been back from the injury. He has looked like he's been in better shape. He's looked like he's playing himself into shape. Looks like he is getting stronger. Looks like he is trusting his knee, because we talk about this. I don't think we talk about this enough. The 2 hurdles an athlete has to get over when they get injured. The physical hurdle, which is I physically can't do this. Now I can do this. Then the mental hurdle. I'm healthy enough, but if I jump like this, am I going to come down and get hurt? If I have contact like this, am I going to go down and get hurt? It's the mental hurdle, getting over it, in other words. And I didn't know how long that was going to be when you hear Joel Embiid talking about I should miss 4 to 6 weeks with this injury. And now he's back, and he's getting stronger and stronger and stronger as this series has gone on. So if that means he's getting stronger and stronger and stronger as the series has gone on, then what are we going to get in Game 6? The strongest version of Joel Embiid that we have seen yet in this series. The Al Horford thing started to bother me a little bit, because I was thinking, oh, man, come on. I thought that we were over this. I thought we were past Al Horford manhandling Joel Embiid. I thought we were past him being like having that dad strength playing against his high school son. Like, that's what it was like watching Al Horford play against Joel Embiid a couple of years ago. And I thought we were past that. I thought we were over. I thought we were done. And we at least for one small stretch in the fourth quarter of Game 4, we were done. We weren't for that small stretch. And then Joel Embiid dug down, got the pep talk from PJ Tucker, and all was right with the world after that. But those days are over. And I think Game 6 is the statement. I saw people talking about how this is the biggest win of Joel Embiid's career. Yes, it is the biggest win of Joel Embiid's career until he wins on Thursday night. Then that'll be the biggest win of Joel Embiid's career. And right now, I'm fully acknowledging the Celtics are a very good basketball team. I'm fully acknowledging that the Sixers have had their struggles in putting teams away. But this just seems like the Sixers have figured it out. The only way I see the Celtics winning is if, and this isn't breaking news, this isn't rocket science here. The only way I see the Celtics coming back and forcing a Game 7 is if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum absolutely go off in Game 6 Thursday night. And it can still very much happen. Before I get to some post-game sounds and highlights and all that stuff, I do want to tell you about my man Steven Singer Jewelers. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven Singer has been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people get engaged and fall in love. So do what I do, whether it's Mother's Day, whether it's at the special someone in your life. For me, instant my wife. Go to Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, home of the perfect price. Now, what does that mean? Steven Singer Jewelers with the perfect price means you don't have to worry about negotiating, haggling, or anything like that. There's no pressure at Steven Singer Jewelers. You just sit back, relax. You get treated like a real jewelry expert by Steven Singer Jewelers and his amazing staff of real jewelry experts. Will make you feel like a family member at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price. Online at iHateStevenSinger.com. That's iHateStevenSinger.com. Also, Phillies got a huge win yesterday. I say huge because they lost 6 in a row. Now they've won 2 in a row. So let's keep it going. And what do we call 3 wins in a row? A winning streak. So hopefully do that today with Zach Wheeler on the hill. Just to go through last night's Phillies game with you. Aaron Nola gets you another quality start, which was great to see for him. Of course, as I go through my notes, here they are. Still, look, I really enjoy watching the Blue Jays because Bo Bichette and Dante Bichette, obviously that connection. Vladimir Guerrero is one of my favorite baseball players ever, despite the fact that he played for the Expos for all those years. So watching Vlad Jr. and watching him be amazing is pretty incredible. So I really enjoy watching the Blue Jays. That doesn't mean I want them to win, of course, but I just enjoy it. So a little extra fun in this series. And let me just say this. You guys probably know from listening to me and watching me that my attention span is that of a gnat. I'm terrible. And John Clark used to break my stones about this all the time. I can't watch two screens, three screens, Flyers, Sixers, whatever's going on. Phillies, I have no idea what happened. I'll be watching 3 games, and I have no idea what's going on in any of them. I only know what's going on when I'm staring at the screen, and then I forget. I just can't do it. I just scatterbrain. We call it Family Guy brain on the show a lot. I definitely have Family Guy brain. If you don't watch the show Family Guy, there's a lot of cutaways. Nothing makes sense. Anyway, so it's difficult, but I tried my damnedest last night, especially with the Sixers and the Phillies, and doing the Jacob Media Phillies post-game show as well. Right after the Phillies game, it was extra hard, but whatever. So watching the Phillies last night. Here's my notes from the game. They won. The end. No. All right. Nick Castellanos continues to be hot. He was a triple short of the cycle. Great to see that from Nick Castellanos. We have seen Nick Castellanos flail at pitches very often. All right. Yes, he's playing great this year. He's got his average up after last night's game to 317. He's on pace for a 21 home run season at least. And I'm hoping that at the time we see Kyle Schwarber and maybe Bryce Harper and these other guys get hot, it's the same thing with Nick Castellanos. Hopefully he has a 10 homer month in him. Okay, that'd be great. But last night, leadoff walk, Bryce Harper gets on base. Phillies got a number of leadoff walks throughout this game, 3 or 4 throughout the game. And Harper gets the leadoff walk. Nick Castellanos comes to the plate. They throw him a slider that hangs up just a little bit too much. It wasn't a bad pitch, but it hangs up just a little bit too much. And I see Nick Castellanos with the body language of flailing, all right? And I go, oh, why is he chasing this? And then I see him make contact. And I go, oh, that's actually some good wood right there. And the ball just keeps on going down the left field line. You see Nick Castellanos doing the Carlton fist. He's like dancing down the first base line. He's dancing down the first base line, right? And he's giving it some English. Gone home run. 2-run home run. Phillies go up 2-1. They allowed a third, top of the third inning. They allowed a RBI double to Bo Bichette. Bad read by Brandon Marsh in center field. A rare bad read from Brandon Marsh. Rockies go up 1-0. Then in the bottom of the 4th inning, Castellanos steps up, hits a 2-run home run. Beautiful. You're up 2-1 now. Phillies go to the bottom of the 5th inning. That's where Trey Turner had an RBI single. Turner ends up taking second. Dusty Wathan last night was an unsung hero for the Phillies. He was like a fine conductor. He was a maestro. Talking about James Harden being a maestro, same thing with Dusty Wathan at third base. In this particular instance, he reads the play that the Blue Jays are kind of lollygagging it, catches him napping, sends Brandon Marsh around there. When I heard, and Marsh rounds third, he's headed for home. When I heard, I was like, no, please no, Dusty Wathan, no. And he scored easily. He scored standing up. And Trey Turner took second base on the throw because the Blue Jays were just lollygagging it. Wathan catches him napping. They go up 3-1 by the close of the 5th inning. Bichette gets a home run off Nola in the 6th inning. It's now a 3-2 ball game. Phillies are able to respond in the bottom of the 6th inning by tacking a couple of more runs on, 2 to be exact. JT Realmuto had a sac fly RBI to right field. Castellanos scored on the play. Castellanos led the inning off with a double. It was hilarious, actually, if you weren't watching the game. John Kruk's on the broadcast for NBC Sports Philadelphia. John Kruk goes, where's Nick Castellanos' double? It's about time to get a double. Right there. Double down the left field line. Castellanos is on first base. Next thing you know, he scores on the JT Realmuto sac fly to right field. Schwarber fouled the ball off the top of his foot in that inning. So it went Castellanos in the bottom of the 6th inning when Castellanos gets the double, his 14th of the season. Schwarber fouls the ball off his left foot, so his back foot in his stance. It was off the top of his foot. Immediately, I thought, there's no way something's not broken. We're going to miss Kyle Schwarber. Guthrie's going to be in left field. Oh, God, what's going to happen? X-rays came back negative. He's got a bone contusion. That's it. So we'll see if he misses any time. But he ended up getting a sac fly to left field. Castellanos took third. Another sac fly on Real Muto. He gets the RBI. Castellanos scores. Bohm gets a single to left. Marsh steps up. He walks. In the middle of that, though, you had Bohm after the single. He stole second. So he got runners on first and second with 2 outs. Sosa steps up, gets the RBI single. Another run scores. It's 5-2. Stott ends the inning by popping out to the third baseman in foul territory. Then in the 7th, some trouble. Phillies go into the 7th inning up 5-2. Some controversy. Aaron Nola's on the bump for the Phillies. They decide, we're not going to have him pitch the 7th inning. He's at 86 pitches. Dominguez is already up there. At the time they put him up, I think it was still a 1-run baseball game. So they get Anthony Dominguez, 2-run baseball game maybe. So Anthony Dominguez goes up in the pen. He starts warming up. They're going to take Nola out. They're going to put him in. So the Phillies now go up 3 runs. Dominguez is already warm. He's already hot, okay? They choose to bring him in as opposed to seeing what Nola's going to do in the 7th inning. Now, I know as soon as you hear, well, let's see what Nola does. He's going to get shelled. You want to see what he's going to do? He's going to get shelled. That's what people's confidence level is in Aaron Nola right now. And I can't say that I blame him. But if he's at 86 pitches and he's only allowed 2 runs and he just got out of a jam in the previous inning and you just tacked on a couple more runs as well and made it a 3-run ball game, you got some wiggle room there. They decide, no, to hell with that. Dominguez is going in. Dominguez struggles. You also have Guthrie in left. Schwarber would leave the game last night, get the x-rays, whatever. But Guthrie's in left field. Dominguez is pitching. Merrifield leads off with a single. Guthrie makes a great play on it, actually, to hold Merrifield to a single. But it doesn't really matter. Krymer, I think is how you say his name. He gets a single. You're now first and second with no outs. You get an out then with Espinal, striking out. So then you got first and second with 1 out. Bichette steps to the plate, grounds out to Bohm. I shouldn't say grounds out to Bohm. This is where the awfulness happens. Bichette hits a ground ball to Alec Bohm. Bohm fields the ball, goes to turn to fire to second to at least set up the force out at second, maybe turn 2. And Bohm decides to not throw to second. And he tosses to Dominguez, who's coming over to first base to make the play. Fundamentally sound baseball until Dominguez wasn't looking and the ball hits off his shoulder, goes into foul territory, ends up scoring. My personal thought on this is that Dominguez is making the right play to go over to first base, looks up at Bohm to see what he's going to do with the ball, sees Bohm turn to second as if he's going to make the throw, puts his head down, goes to find first base, and as he's doing that, thinking the ball is now at second, he goes to find the bag and doesn't look up in time. Ball hits him in the shoulder. It looks stupid, but I can see why it happened. It shouldn't happen. That's not an excuse. That's an explanation for what happened. So now, unfortunately, at that point, it's a 2-run ball game. Merrifield later scored on on that play. He ends up scoring on that play. They actually get 2 runs to score. And getting jumbled up here. 5-3 game. After the misplay at first base, then Soto comes in on relief for Dominguez, bases loaded, and he hits Chapman. Run scores. That's how they got the second run of the inning. It's a 5-4 ball game. Now you're getting a little concerned. Soto, though, gets the pinch hitter Jackson to ground out to third base, and that would end the threat. Phillies tack on a couple more runs there in the 8th inning. Brandon Marsh gets a 2-run double. And again, Dusty Watson, the maestro that he is, has a situation here where JT Realmuto is trying to tag up at second base because there's a long fly ball that just hung up there in center field. They can't make the play on it. So now Realmuto tags up from second. Didn't have to tag up anyway, but now he's rounding third base. Bohm is right on his heels. Watson, with one hand, is waving Realmuto. With the other hand is holding Alec Bohm. They score. Realmuto on the play makes it 7-4. And then the next thing you know, you get Sosa up there. He grounds out to third. Stott steps up. He gets the RBI fielder's choice with Bohm scoring from third. They throw home to try to get Bohm on contact to the first baseman. They can't get him out. They go up 8-4 in the ball game, and that's how it would end. Get that? Got that? No? Okay. Miss Guzzi. Phillies back at it with Zach Wheeler on the hill this afternoon, 4:05 start time. So that's how that one goes down. Before we get to the chat check, here's the way last night's Sixers game was explained as far as how the Sixers won this one. I'm going to start it off with Joel Embiid, who talked about squashing the momentum. Squashing the momentum of the Celtics throughout. Here's JoJo after the game.
Just wanted to be as aggressive as possible. Obviously, I started off the game, taking a bunch of shots, but I just understand, and I think we all understand that for us to win, I have to, be aggressive, and that doesn't mean shooting every shot. It means attacking, creating for others. Involving my teammates, doing everything we pace. Then that's the main thing, whether it's dribble handoffs and, me attacking and finding guys and, looking for my shot too. So, they got a momentum in that second quarter. And, the best way to always stop a momentum is, can post up. That kind of slows the pace down, especially they were trying to go up and down quite a bit in that second quarter, with the fans going behind them. So just want to make sure, in those situations, you don't want to play at their pace. You want them to play at our pace. So I got a couple of trips to the free throw line, and, defensively, we did a better job of, slowing them down.
Certainly, they did a better job of slowing him down, which is great. Joel Embiid, by the way, 10 for 11 from the free throw line. Don't think he missed a free throw until the fourth quarter in last night's game. But by the time it was said and done, Joel Embiid, 33 points, was plus 21 in the game last night. 3 of 7 from beyond the arc, and was 10 for 23 from the floor. So, yeah, a typical MVP performance from Joel Embiid. Not too shabby right there. Now, when you look at a guy like Tyrese Maxey, we'll get to him and what he had to say after the game, but how did he have the game that he had? James Harden, after the game, was asked about the way the game played out and what it was like for him to make sure every single possession he could try to find the open man as opposed to force an issue for him trying to score. And scoring has not been that big an issue for him. One game it was, but even in that game, he had 20-plus points. So in this particular instance, the way they were playing him, it dictated how he was going to play.
Like you said, it started to be aggressive, and then they was denying me, and so it really opened the floor up for Tyrese. And, he hasn't really shot the ball well or scored the ball well this series, and we knew it was going to turn around just because he puts the work in, and tonight was his game, So that's what it's going to be in the playoffs. And then you come in somebody like Daniel House, who hasn't really played and comes in and change the dynamic of the game. So those two players tonight were really effective, and one of the reasons why we won tonight.
Daniel House, by the way, I love that nobody even mentioned Daniel House. And did I just say Daniel House? I'm a jerk. I am a jerk. Daniel House. I mentioned the 10 points that he had. How about 5 rebounds? 10 points, 5 rebounds, 15 minutes of work. Not too shabby there, Daniel. Credit to James Harden for shouting him out last night when nobody was asking him about him. But that's what great players do. And I really admire James Harden for doing this year something that not doing this year something he did too often last year. And last year I thought he forced situations. I thought that he was going to impose his will. I thought he did that way too often last year, and it resulted in turnovers. This game, he played remarkably within himself. And he wasn't trying to overdo anything. If it was there, he took it. He made it. He was great in that regard, but nothing was forced. And that's where he gets into trouble when he starts forcing situations that aren't there. Reaching for situations that aren't there. Reaching for opportunities that aren't there. And instead, he fed the hot hand. Tyrese Maxey had 6 threes in this game. Joel Embiid hit 3 threes in this game. Keep feeding the hot hand. If it's not there for you, if they're defending you well, if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, then yeah, let's find the next best option. And that's what James Harden did so well last night. Again, Doc Rivers referred to it as the perfect game. He pitched the perfect game. Now let's hear from Tyrese Maxey and his 30-point performance in the playoffs, helping lead the charge. But hey, guys, still got a game to put him away.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one more game. I mean, the series isn't over. Like, we still need one more game to move on to advance to the next round. So, I mean, that game is behind us. We have to lock in. We have to focus. Come, what day is it, Tuesday? Whatever day we play. We have to focus. We have to lock in, and it's going to be a dogfight, man. They're going to come in. They're going to play extremely desperate, and we know that. And we have to be the more desperate team that night because it's a closeout game at home, and it's hard to close the team out, so.
But please do it anyway. Please do it anyway. We'd love to see it. We're all waiting for it with bated breath. Can't wait. This was a humorous situation. Really, actually, I can't help it. I need to. It's in my head. I need to say it. Tyrese Maxey, and watching his maturation as a shooter. I mean, obviously, he was never gun shy when he came into the league. All right, there was definitely a learning curve of playing with Joel Embiid. And it's not just because it's Embiid, it's because you're playing with a dominant player. And when Embiid was out with COVID last year, you saw Maxey really come into his own as a team leader and a scorer. And you didn't have James Harden yet, but you really saw him play at this level that a lot of people weren't sure he could play at. Embiid comes back, and that style of play, that level of production went away. And you get that to a point because it's Joel's team. Joel's the MVP candidate. You're a young guy. You want to make sure that the big guy on the team is getting his. And I think anyone understands that. But I thought a big barrier for him to break through was to realize that with Joel Embiid on the court, he could still be aggressive. He could still get his. He could still shoot it if the big man was open down low. He could still do that. And I think it took a while for that to kind of sink in. And I think James Harden was imperative to that actually sinking in. To Tyrese Maxey's head. That, hey, you could still play like that. You could still play great. And you saw that in last night's game. So watching that process go on with Tyrese Maxey makes you think, man, some players just don't put in the work. Some players, they don't do it. James Harden last night even went on a little tangent about how he was happy to give Maxey those shots. He was happy to pass up for Maxey because he puts the work in. And last night was his game. You heard James Harden just say that. Last night was his night. That's fantastic. And to see the production out there after you know a guy puts in the work. And when we saw James Harden and we saw Joel Embiid and we saw those guys go out there and handle their business, it was a beautiful thing. So to see that was great. And to pass up on those opportunities because your other teammate was going off last night is a great acknowledgement. Here's Doc Rivers, though, talking about a humorous situation as the game went on.
I just thought we played the right way. Guys who went out of the game was shaking the hands of the guy going in. Guys played to exhaustion. Tobias, was begging to come out. Joel needed a timeout. Daniel House gave me the European signal for substitution, which the whole locker room got a kick out of because I didn't know what it was. He walked over to me and was doing this, and we have an X-play. So I'm thinking X-play, and he said, "No, I can't breathe." And we got to laugh about it. That's what we were laughing on the sideline about. But he was fantastic tonight.
Absolutely was. I didn't know that was the European thing for a substitution, but Daniel House, I'm not too familiar with his background. I think he's from Texas, but whatever. Daniel, that sounds pretty European to me. Anyway, but the fact that they could laugh about it, that they were that in control of the game is great. And the fact that you had guys out there that were putting out max effort because they know how important last night was and they know how important Thursday night is, obviously. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. The fact that the Sixers have stolen 2 games in Boston in this series is unreal. And the fact that they have a chance to close it out on Thursday night is great. One last thing from Doc Rivers on the message to the team.
We were up 3-2. All right, that's it. All right, that's it. We have to get our rest and we have to get ready because they're going to come and play great, and we got to be able to sustain that and still win the game.
No question about that. Everyone wants to jump on the best game, biggest game of Joel Embiid's career. It is, but every game from this point on, the opportunity to close out the Celtics, the opportunity to move on the next round of the playoffs, every game that he plays in the Eastern Conference Finals, knock on wood, every game, every single game is going to be the biggest of his career from this point on. from this point on. Let me tell you right now about the great people at Manscaped. Manscaped.com, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Join 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and their skin-safe technology that helps them manscape with confidence and comfort. You'll love their Platinum Package 4.0, which is their best hygiene bundle yet. It includes the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer as well as the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. Check out Manscaped at manscaped.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off and free shipping. How about Freestone Farm CBD? You like CBD? You use CBD? You want to try CBD? How about Freestone Farm CBD at freestonefarmcbd.com? You'll love their tropical tasting Bayox and Cloxin at a chart-topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. So try Freestone Farm CBD at freestonefarmcbd.com. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's get to the chat check. Started off with our Jacob friends today. See how yous guys are doing. Oh, popping in the chat check over here. Fuji, I have to know what led to the name change, but nice to see you. Good morning, King Pooty TV. Gotta finish. Coming from King Pooty, that's pretty funny. Sammy, what's up, Sammy? Farzy, Tucker is a huge difference. He sets the tone. You're damn right he is. Analytics people ripping up their notes. But I did all this math. How do I measure heart? Anyway, so how do I measure leadership? Sammy, also, Doc has been coaching well. House was the right stuff. Look, we've said it almost every game. Doc has done a phenomenal job this year. He really has done. The biggest blemish is the Maxey coming off the bench thing, which is just bonkers, but it happened. Brilliant people have a blind spot sometimes. And for whatever reason, Maxey was a blind spot. Farzy. Oh, hey, yeah, PJ's checking it. Would you have bet someone you'd be saying that? Would you bet, Sammy, that you'd be saying that Doc Rivers is doing a phenomenal job? Oh, geez, Sammy. Stone Cold Mortal Lock. Ha, ha, ha. Just kidding. I believe Doc wants to vindicate himself, too. The Clippers' losses should not be his legacy. I concur. Tony Mercer. Boston stinks. You think you're better than me? No. Tony, I agree. Tobias called for the... Oh, Sammy. Tobias gets called for the tickiest, lightest fouls. And then Tatum is just doing out forearm shivers without one offensive foul. That is amazing to me. That is amazing to me. It wasn't Maxey. It was Tobias, I think, in this one, right? Where Tatum put out the forearm shiver, left arm guard hand. And it was like if Marcus Smart was fouled on either one of those Tatum stiff arms, then Marcus Smart would have flailed back onto the ground, lied motionless for an hour. Paramedics would have come out, and he'd be like kind of smirking, and he'd be like, that bastard, he's fine. He'd be like, I'm going to get him now. And he would go to Edward G. Robinson voice. And paramedics would come out. A helicopter would come in through the top of the stadium. It would open up and it'd be like, I didn't know it opened up. And it opened up and the helicopter came down. Referees would be crying of the tragedy. Marcus Smart, how did you do that to Marcus Smart? Then there'd be like a triple technical foul, flagrant foul on whoever did it for the Sixers. The Boston fans would leave because they'd be in protest and a player could actually do that. Perhaps I'm being too dramatic, but that's the way it would play out. So, yes, it would be nice if, Sammy, it would be nice if Tatum got called for one stiff arm. Just one. Just one. Also, just let this marinate your head for a second here. Jason, Marcus Smart is a defensive player in the year. Marcus Smart is a defensive player of the year. Joel Embiid is not. Okay, enough of that. Well, Sammy, you're cooking over here, bud. Some bread bowls? What, clam chowder? What? I do love some clam chowder. Ooh, every time I'm in Boston, I think I get it at every meal. I have to. Tony Mercer, what's up? Tucker is a dog. You need X-ray machine to see it. That's a good point. I like that. Sammy's popping off. That's good. It's time to believe. I'm going to believe. Jaylen Brown missed a lot of free throws, too. What did he finish with last night? I meant to check that. Thank you for bringing that up, Sammy. 3 for 8. Yeah, no bueno. No bueno right there. Maze, wait, who's Maze? Maze is your... Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong chat. Sorry, I'll get back to you guys in 1 second. Boop. What else do we got? Sword swallowing Niners fan. Hi, Daddy. Hello. That's a sexy bald head, Mark. Why, thank you. Sammy, F Analytics. Sammy, Marcus Smart is the guy you hate as an opponent but love on your team, probably. I don't want to know. Anyway. All right, over to the Farzy. Thanks, everyone, the Jacob chat. Let's get over to the Farzy chat. What's going on, guys? Go Sixers. What's up, Go Sixers? That's the guy's name. Or ladies. I don't know. Mally, what's going on? Sean, what's going on? Mally, Jason Tatum wants out of Boston. He's giving out that vibe. Ooh, I don't know. Mally, Joel looked healthy. All right, sorry, Mally. Joel looked healthy last night. Yes, he did. Sean Gillespie saying good morning. Whole team win. I agree. Please keep it up, Sixers. I agree. Dan Schwartz! Wow, I'm shocked how good they played. I am infatuated with how good they played. Sean Kilrain, good morning. Dan, hello. Sixers Celtics looked terrified last night. Literally, they absolutely did. Jeff, incredible win. Best overall offensive game I can think of this season. Where best offensive game I can think of, where all 4 starters played great. Great point. Michael, what's up, Michael Branconi? Michael, is it over in 6? I am saying it's over in 6. I'm saying the Sixers cracked the code. I'm saying that they finish it off at home. Something about Joel Embiid playing at home in an elimination game. He wants that opportunity to give the hometown fans that type of win. And I think the Sixers finish him off. Whose house? Daniel House? What a performance off the bench. Yeah, I know, right? Ray Fitzgerald. What's up, Ray? Have to give credit to Harden. He knows when to shoot and not to shoot the ball. And Rivers actually coached a good game last night with his gut feeling with House off the bench and his rotation. Gotta love it. I'm with you. Ray. Vegas has the loan set at Boston. The line set. Gotcha. At -2. Open bonus -1. That's a Boston line for sure, but Vegas has been wrong badly, very badly this series. Boy, have they. What were they, 8-point favorites last night? You fools. Mally, saying hi to Sean. House has been great when he's gotten the chance. He did play better. I will say this. When he's got his chance, mostly the second half of the season, he played really well. Armando, you did. Armando, in big capital letters. I told you yesterday the Sixers are the best team on the road. You did. This is facts. Sean, what's going on? I absolutely agree. Playing big in key moments. Mark, told you. Mark, I told you BDN Castellanos. There's only one BDN, okay? There's only one BDN. Maybe because Castellanos has a Hispanic, maybe Grande? I'm not even going to say it in Spanish anyway. I almost went there. T-Bro. What's up, T-Bro? T-Bro says he started the wave last night, but he did not throw hot dogs. Can we stop throwing hot dogs? Please? Can we stop throwing hot dogs at Citizens Bank Park? Please? First off, it's a waste of food. Second, I don't want the dog dogs to go away. They're a beautiful thing. Sean Kilray, my buddy, gave me a Moses Malone jersey. That's pretty awesome. Mihai Sanchez. What's up, Mihai? Morning, Mark, and everyone. How about everyone pitching in for the Sixers last night? Everyone did. Double-double for Harden. Phillies tied for the second in the NL East. World Series preview versus the Blue Jays. Faith restored. There you go. April. Morning, April. Oh, no. Wait, April. I will always be bitter about Hideki Matsui in 2000. I wasn't alive in 93. All right. Thank you, Mihai. Thank you for that. I had just turned 11 years old when Joe Carter hit that home run. I was sitting on the floor of my Aunt Teresa and Uncle Ralph's living room watching it for Aunt Teresa's birthday party, and it was a wonderful. Another memory about that real quick, because my Uncle Ralph is such a cool dude. Really close friends of the family, my Uncle Ralph and Aunt Teresa. I think he threw that party for Aunt Teresa in October, her birthday party in October. I don't think her birthday is till March. Anyway, so wait, we got a cousin pitching. Oh, your pitching is your pitching. Your cousin is the pitcher, Meza, who pitched last night. Didn't he get beat up a little bit? Yeah, any good? When did Meza come in the game? I'm not. Did I lose my notes? I lost my notes. But anyway, I lost my marbles too. But whatever. Congrats! That's awesome, man. That your cousin pitches for the Blue Jays. That's great. Can he get me a Vlad Guerrero Jr. autograph? Anyway, everyone's chill. April says, yeah, I was in 8th grade. Forget middle school heartbreak. The Phillies broke my heart. I'm with you there. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual, both Farzy Show and Jacob Media. Here's what we got going on today. The Phillies are back at it, looking for the brief 2-game sweep of the Toronto Blue Jays. That's what's going on tonight. 4:05 start time. Zach Wheeler gets the start for the Phillies. He is looking to improve from his last start, which was lackluster, if memory serves me correctly. He did not pitch in that Dodgers series, so he escaped the wrath of the LA Dodgers, fortunately. But he went up against the Houston Astros, and he also went up against the Boston Red Sox in that series. Against the Astros, 6 scoreless. Against the Red Sox, 4 earned runs, 5 runs total, 7 hits, 5 1/3, struck out 5. He's only walked 1 in his last 2 starts, was a nice thing to see there. But tonight, 4:05 this afternoon, depending on how you like to slice it, he'll go up against Kevin Gausman of the Blue Jays. Gausman 2-3 on the season with a 3.86 ERA. He is coming off a dreadful performance against the Boston Red Sox. So both times these pitchers started last, they started against the Boston Red Sox. Gausman, 8 runs, all of them earned on 10 hits. 1 walk issued in 3 1/3 against the Boston Red Sox. So he'll be looking to bounce back from an absolutely dreadful performance against the Red Sox. So that's a 4:05 start time. Sixers will be back at it tomorrow night in South Philadelphia. 7:30 start time for Game 6, the hopefully decisive Game 6. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Great catching up with you guys as always, and a great day to talk about the Phillies taking care of their business, hopefully, and a great day to talk about the Sixers taking care of their business in Game 6. Thanks for watching, everybody. My name is Mark Farzy. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Mother's Day, Sunday. Don't miss out. Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price. Online today, stevensinger.com. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a wonderful job. Thanks to the people over at Jacob Media. Thanks to the people here at Farzy Show. And for the people on the podcast, thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. See you.